नमस्ते माय बिलोव्ड फ्रेंड्स। गुरु जब पीछे चलता है तो जीवन आगे बढ़ने से पहले भीतर उतरता है। इट मीन्स दिस व्हेन जुपिटर द गुरु द प्लैनेट ऑफ विजडम एंड ग्रेस appears to move backward in the sky, it is not a sign of punishment or loss. It is a sacred inward turn. Life slows down outside so that the soul can mature inside. Progress shifts from achievement to awareness, from expansion to understanding. In such phases, growth does not come through speed or visibility. It comes through reflection, correction, and inner alignment. And only when this inner descent is complete, life resumes forward movement with stability, wisdom, and lasting grace. And that is exactly what we have been living through. Jupiter turned retrograde on 11th November 2025 and will turn direct only on 11th March 2026, a period not meant for rushing but for ripening. The retrograde state slows down Jupiter's Karakatvas, not because grace has disappeared, but because karma demands maturity. Wisdom cannot be borrowed or memorized here, it must be earned. Faith is not taken away, it is refined. Education takes longer to fructify. Guidance comes after inner confusion, and matters of children, money, honor, recognition, promotions, higher learning, and even foreign travel or visa processes often move with delay. Yet, when they arrive with depth, humility, and responsibility. Moral clarity stops being theoretical, it becomes lived. Because truth is never handed over ready made, it must be discovered. In retrogression, Jupiter withdraws his blessings from the outer world and redirects them inward. Gurus are questioned, blind belief dissolves, borrowed philosophies collapse, ethics are relearned not only through scripture but through consequences. The soul is asked to walk alone for a while, to unlearn false certainty, and to mature before expansion is permitted. That is why delays under retrograde Jupiter are not punishments, they are initiations. Late success becomes deeper, earned respect becomes unshakable, slow wisdom becomes permanent, and when knowledge finally arrives, it brings peace, not pride. So, if between 11th November 2025 and 11th March 2026 you felt life slowing down, recognition postponed, promotions hovering, money arriving late, children related matters demanding patience, education testing perseverance, foreign visas stretching beyond reason, understand this clearly. This is not coincidence. This is Guru Tattva turning inward. When Jupiter goes retrograde, the universe is not saying no. It is asking, are you ready? Ready to carry success without arrogance, ready to receive wealth without losing ethics, ready to be seen without being consumed by ego, ready to guide others without needing validation. Divine timing moves slowly because everything that truly matters takes time. Jupiter corrects the foundation, because if blessings arrive too early, ego inflates. If money flows too freely, discipline weakens. If honor comes prematurely, the soul may not be ready to hold its responsibility. This period quietly asks, are your ambitions aligned with dharma? Is your pursuit of status rooted in service or comparison? Is your faith alive or merely inherited? Those who resist suffer impatience. Those who surrender mature invisibly. And now, as Jupiter turns direct from 11th March 2026, the pause begins to lift, not dramatically, but with quiet authority. Jupiter direct does not restart events, it releases maturity. What was delayed begins to move forward, but only where understanding has ripened. What was withheld begins to flow, but only where arrogance has dissolved. It does not behave like a switch turning on, it behaves like a dawn, slow, certain, irreversible. For some, overdue recognition will arrive as respect, not noise. For others, authority will come with responsibility, not excitement. Money stabilizes but demands wiser handling. Matters of children, education, and foreign travel begin to move after patience has been learned. Because when Guru goes direct, he asks only one question: what did you become during the wait? If faith matured, Jupiter rewards with expansion. If ego softened, Jupiter grants honor. If ethics strengthened, Jupiter supports wealth. If wisdom deepened, Jupiter gives guidance roles. And now, as Jupiter resumes forward motion, his grace begins to operate through your moon sign, through the mind, memory, emotional patterns, and subconscious sanskaras that decide how you receive life. The moon shows how you feel destiny. Jupiter now decides how destiny responds to that inner state. So let us now look at this powerful shift, moon sign by moon sign, and understand how Jupiter turning direct from 11th March 2026 begins to unlock growth, clarity, and expansion. Each of you in your own way, according to the karmic readiness of your mind. Listen carefully, because when Jupiter moves forward, life starts answering the questions you were silently living. So let's begin. Aries, Mesh Rashi. Jupiter rules the 9th and 12th house, the houses of Dharma and Moksha, purpose and surrender, higher wisdom and final release. And so as Jupiter turns direct, something very subtle yet deeply transformative begins to realign with your life. The 9th house is not merely luck or fortune, it is the direction of grace. It governs faith, teachers, blessings of the Father, higher knowledge, and that invisible protection which operates only when the soul is aligned. The 12th house is not merely loss, it is liberation. It rules isolation, foreign lands, expenses that dissolve ego, sleep, silence, and the quiet preparation of the soul before a higher leap. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Aries moons may have felt spiritually unsettled, questioning beliefs, doubting guidance, feeling disconnected from teachers, or experiencing delays related to foreign travel, visas, hospitals, expenses, or inner peace. Faith may have felt dry, direction unclear, silence heavy. This is natural because, as Raman Maharshi reminded us, truth is not something new to be gained, it is revealed when false ideas fall away. Retrograde Jupiter was doing exactly that, removing borrowed faith, inherited beliefs, and second-hand wisdom. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, the Guru begins to walk ahead again. This forward motion does not bring loud miracles, it brings quiet alignment. Faith returns, not blind faith, but lived faith. Opportunities connected to higher learning, spiritual guidance, pilgrimages, or foreign connections begin to move. Expenses start making sense. Losses reveal their hidden protection. Sleep deepens. Inner restlessness softens. As Osho said, life does not reward belief, it rewards understanding. Jupiter direct brings understanding. The 12th house activation also brings a gentle dissolving of ego. Aries is fire, action, assertion, but Jupiter now teaches surrender without weakness. You may feel drawn toward solitude, meditation, charity, spiritual travel, or simply stepping back from unnecessary battles. This is not escape, this is inner strengthening. Nisargadatta Maharaj once said that wisdom begins when the need to control ends. Jupiter turning direct invites Aries to stop forcing destiny and start trusting its rhythm. When effort relaxes, grace accelerates. Avatar Meher Baba taught that real progress is always inward before it is outward. That is why this phase may feel calm rather than dramatic. But do not underestimate it. What is stabilizing now is your inner compass. So, for my dear Aries, this is a period where faith finds its feet again. Losses reveal their meaning. Foreign connections unblock, and spiritual maturity begins to translate into real world support. Jupiter does not promise excess, he promises meaning. And when meaning returns, life stops resisting you. It begins to cooperate. Taurus, Vrishab Rashi. Jupiter rules the 8th and the 11th house, the houses of deep transformation and collective fulfillment, inner rebirth and outer gains, hidden truths and visible rewards. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, life begins to move again, but not on the surface first. It moves from within the depths. The 8th house is not merely about crisis or fear, it is the house of alchemy. It governs sudden changes, psychological purging, inherited karma, secrets, healing, occult wisdom, and the depth of old identities. The 11th house, on the other hand, is not just income, it is the fulfillment of desires, networks, social reach, elder siblings, large audiences, and the ability to receive what one has long hoped for. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Taurus natives may have felt emotionally heavy without clear reason. Old fears resurfacing, trust issues rising, relationships demanding emotional honesty, money matters feeling stuck despite effort, or gains being delayed even after long struggle. Some may have felt isolated even while surrounded by people. Others may have sensed that life was asking them to let go of control, especially emotional or financial control. This too was not random. As Nisargadatta Maharaj reminded us, real transformation begins when the false sense of security collapses. Retrograde Jupiter was quietly loosening Taurus' deep attachment to certainty, stability, and predictability, forcing growth through surrender. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, the inner churn begins to stabilize, and the rewards of that inner work start appearing in the outer world. The 8th house activation now brings healing after upheaval. Emotional wounds begin to close. Fear loses its grip. Matters related to joint finances, insurance, inheritance, debts, or long standing psychological burdens begin to move toward resolution. What once felt threatening now becomes empowering. Osho said that the greatest courage is to allow life to change you. Jupiter direct gives Taurus that courage without shaking their ground again. At the same time, the 11th house awakens. Gains that were delayed begin to arrive. Support from friends, networks, and influential circles increases. Long pending wishes slowly start manifesting, not suddenly but steadily. Recognition comes not through noise but through trust. Money improves but with wiser boundaries. Social reach expands without draining emotional energy. Avatar Meher Baba taught that real receiving happens only after inner resistance dissolves. That dissolution has already occurred during the retrograde phase. Now, Taurus natives are finally ready to receive without fear of loss, without clinging, without anxiety. This phase also transforms Taurus' relationship with desire itself. What you want begins to change. You may find that certain ambitions quietly fall away, while more meaningful goals take their place. This is Jupiter refining desire into purpose. So, for Taurus moon, this is a period where inner healing unlocks outer gains. Emotional security replaces fear, and long held wishes begin to take form slowly, solidly, and sustainably. Jupiter does not rush Taurus, he grounds you first, then rewards you. And when stability comes after transformation, it does not break again. Gemini, Mithun Rashi. Jupiter rules the 7th and 10th houses, the houses of relationship and responsibility, partnership and public karma, personal bonds and professional authority. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, life begins to ask Gemini a very serious question. How do you relate and how do you lead? The 7th house is not merely marriage or business. It is the mirror of the self. It governs partnerships, spouse, clients, contracts, alliances, and open rivals, showing how you meet the world one on one. The 10th house is not merely career, it is dharma in action. It rules profession, reputation, leadership, accountability, and the weight of visibility. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Gemini natives may have felt strain or confusion in relationships, misunderstandings with partner, distance with spouse, delayed commitments, wavering trust, or a sense that others were not responding as expected. Professionally, efforts may have gone unseen. Authority may have felt questioned, or career progress seemed stalled despite competence. This too had meaning. As Raman Maharshi taught, when attention turns inward, outer confusion is revealed as unresolved inner conflict. Retrograde Jupiter was not blocking others, It was asking Gemini natives to examine their own expectations, communication patterns, and unconscious need for validation. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, clarity begins to return. First in intention, then in the outcome. The seventh house awakens with maturity in relationships. Conversations become clearer. Commitments stabilize. The right alliances begin to form, while unhealthy or draining connections quietly dissolve. Marriage matters, business partnerships, legal agreements, and client relationships begin to move forward, but only where honesty has replaced cleverness. Osho once said that relationship is the greatest spiritual discipline. Jupiter direct turns Gemini's relationships into teachers rather than distractions. At the same time, the 10th house gains momentum. Career matters that were delayed begin to progress. Authority returns not through force but through credibility. Seniors, clients, or the public begin to recognize your effort and integrity. Professional decisions become firm. Visibility increases, but with responsibility, not excitement. Nisargadatta Maharaj reminded us that true power is not in controlling outcomes, but in clarity of being. Jupiter direct grants Gemini natives that clarity now. When the mind settles, life responds. This phase also asks Gemini to slow the impulse to scatter energy. Jupiter does not reward multitasking now, he rewards commitment. One path chosen with sincerity will yield more than 10 options entertained half heartedly. Avatar Meher Baba taught that when responsibility is accepted willingly, grace follows silently. That is the promise of this phase, my dear Gemini. And so, for you, Gemini, this is a time when relationships mature, career direction stabilizes, and public standing improves. Not because you spoke louder, but because you became clearer. Jupiter does not amplify Gemini's words now. Jupiter strengthens your intent. And when intent is clear, both the world and its people begin to cooperate. Cancer, Karka Rashi. Jupiter rules the 6th and the 9th houses, the house of service and grace, daily struggle and divine protection, effort and faith. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, life begins to rebalance a long standing tension within Cancer natives. The tension between doing and trusting. The 6th house is not merely enemies, debts, and diseases. It is the arena of daily karma. It governs work pressure, routines, service, discipline, healing, and the battles one must fight simply to stay aligned. The 9th house, on the other hand, is the hand of grace. It represents dharma, blessings of the father, of the teachers, higher wisdom, fortune, and the invisible protection that intervenes when effort alone is not enough. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Cancer moon natives may have felt exhausted, working hard yet feeling unsupported, fighting silent battles related to health, work politics, debts, or responsibilities, while simultaneously questioning faith, guidance, or the fairness of life itself. Some may have felt spiritually disconnected even while doing the right things outwardly. This was not abandonment. As Nisargadatta Maharaj taught, when faith is tested, it is not to break it, but to purify it. Retrograde Jupiter was stripping Cancer natives of emotional dependency on external protection, teaching self reliance without bitterness. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, the balance begins to restore. The sixth house starts responding to effort. Health routines stabilize. Recovery improves. Work situations become manageable. Conflicts lose their intensity. Hidden enemies lose relevance. Debts and obligations begin to resolve, not magically, but through steady, intelligent action. At the same time, the ninth house reawakens grace, guidance returns, faith softens, support appears in subtle ways. A mentor's words suddenly make sense. A spiritual practice deepens. Delayed blessings related to education, pilgrimage, legal matters, or father figures begin to move forward. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi reminded us that grace is always present. It is the mind that turns away. Jupiter direct gently turns Cancer native's mind back toward trust. This phase also heals Cancer's tendency to carry emotional burdens silently. Jupiter teaches that service does not require suffering and discipline does not damage self neglect. You may find yourself learning to serve with boundaries, to help without exhaustion, and to trust without surrendering dignity. Osho once said that true religion is not struggle, it is understanding. Jupiter direct replaces emotional strain with inner clarity. So, for Cancer natives, this is a period where effort begins to bear fruit. Faith regains warmth, health and work matters stabilize, and grace quietly walks alongside you again. Jupiter does not remove your duties, he lightens their weight. And when effort and faith walk together, life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a path. Leo, Sinha Rashi. Jupiter rules the 5th and 8th houses, the houses of intelligence and transformation, creative fire and karmic rebirth, past life merit and deep inner change. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, Leo moons are invited into a phase where power is redefined, not as dominance but as depth. The 5th house is not merely creativity or romance, it is Purva Punya, the stored merit of past lives. It governs intelligence, intuition, children, education, mantra, creative expression, and the ability to shine naturally without force. The 8th house, on the other hand, is not merely crisis, it is the house of truth beneath appearances. It rules sudden changes, hidden fears, emotional vulnerability, occult wisdom, healing, joint resources, and the death of false identities. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Leo natives may have felt their confidence quietly shaken. Creative blocks, emotional uncertainty, delays related to children or education, or sudden inner upheavals may have surfaced. Some may have felt misunderstood, unsupported, or forced to confront fears they had long avoided. The usual Leo radiance may have dimmed, not because it was gone, but because it was being purified. And this was necessary. As Osho said, the ego must fall before intelligence can rise. Retrograde Jupiter was humbling Leo natives, not to weaken them, but to remove dependence on applause and external validation. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, something profound stabilizes. The fifth house begins to glow again, this time with quiet brilliance. Creativity returns, but with maturity. Intelligence sharpens. Educational or academic matters move forward. Children related concerns begin to resolve. Romantic understanding deepens. Mantra, prayer, and intuitive insight become more potent because the mind is less noisy now. At the same time, the eighth house softens its grip. Emotional turbulence reduces. Fears lose their intensity. Matters related to inheritance, joint finances, healing, or deep psychological transformation begin to find clarity. What once felt threatening now becomes a source of strength. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi taught that what is real cannot be harmed and what is unreal never truly existed. Jupiter direct helps Leo natives distinguish between the two, between ego based fear and soul based confidence. This phase also transforms Leo's relationship with power. You may find that you no longer wish to prove yourself. Recognition matters less than integrity. Control gives way to trust, and in that surrender, authority becomes natural rather than forced. Avatar Meher Baba reminded us that real strength lies in self conquest, not conquest of others. Jupiter direct brings Leo natives closer to this truth. So, for Leo natives, this is a period where creativity matures, confidence stabilizes, inner fears dissolve, and wisdom replaces performance. Jupiter does not dim Leo's light, Jupiter purifies it, and when light is pure, it no longer needs approval to shine. Virgo, Kanya Rashi. Jupiter rules the fourth and the seventh house, the houses of inner security and outer relationships, emotional foundation and worldly engagement, home and partnership. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, Virgo natives enter a phase where inner stability becomes the key to outer harmony. The fourth house is not merely property or a mother, it is the emotional core. It governs peace of mind, psychological safety, home, roots, belonging, and the inner sense of being held by life. The seventh house, on the other hand, is the field of interaction. It rules marriage, partnerships, clients, contracts, and how the world responds to you. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Virgo natives may have felt emotionally unsettled. Restlessness at home, unresolved family matters, mental heaviness, or a quiet dissatisfaction that logic could not solve. Relationships may have felt strained, distant, or demanding. You may have found yourself analyzing emotions endlessly, yet feeling no closer to peace. This inner disturbance was not a flaw. As Bhagavan Raman Maharshi taught, peace is not found by rearranging circumstances, but by returning to the self. Retrograde Jupiter was pulling Virgo natives inward, away from overanalysis and into emotional truth. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, the inner knots begin to loosen. The fourth house starts to heal, mental peace improves, sleep deepens, home matters stabilize, property or relocation issues begin to move, emotional security slowly returns, not because everything becomes perfect, but because acceptance replaces resistance. At the same time, the seventh house begins to respond. Relationships soften, communication improves, marriage matters stabilize, business partnerships and client relationships gain clarity. The world begins to reflect the inner calm that has been cultivated. Once Osho said that clarity comes not from thinking more but from being more aware. Jupiter direct helps Virgo natives step out of mental loops and into grounded awareness. This phase also teaches Virgo a crucial lesson. You cannot fix everyone and everything. Jupiter brings wisdom to stop over functioning in relationships and to allow others to meet you halfway. Nisargadatta Maharaj reminded us that when the mind stops interfering, life flows naturally. Jupiter direct restores that flow at home and also in partnership. Avatar Meher Baba taught that love grows when expectations dissolve. This is especially true now as expectations soften, relationships heal. So, for Virgo natives, this is a time where inner peace restores outer balance, emotional grounding strengthens relationships, and mental clarity replaces anxiety. Jupiter does not solve Virgo's problems intellectually, he settles the heart first. And when the heart is settled, life no longer feels like something to manage. It becomes something to live. Libra, Tula Rashi. Jupiter rules the third and the sixth houses, the houses of effort and endurance, courage and conflict, daily action and karmic struggle. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, Libra moon natives enter a phase where strength is rebuilt quietly, not through confrontation but through consistency. The third house is not merely communication or siblings, it is inner courage. It governs willpower, initiative, effort, skills, writing, expression, and the ability to act despite fear. The sixth house is not merely enemies or illness, it is the field of daily karma where discipline, service, routine, and resilience are tested. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Libra natives may have felt drained, trying to maintain harmony while feeling internally exhausted. Efforts may not have yielded results. Communication may have felt misunderstood. Work pressure, health routines, or interpersonal conflicts may have demanded more energy than usual. Some may have felt despite doing the right thing, life kept asking for more patience. This was not imbalance, it was preparation. As Nisargadatta Maharaj said, strength is discovered when one stops avoiding discomfort. Retrograde Jupiter was building Libra's inner stamina, teaching you to stand your ground without losing grace. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, momentum slowly returns. The third house awakens courage. Confidence in your voice strengthens. Communication becomes clearer. Writing, speaking, teaching, or skill based efforts begin to bear fruit. Support from siblings or close associates improves. You may find yourself expressing boundaries more clearly without guilt. At the same time, the sixth house stabilizes. Work challenges ease, health routines show improvement, conflicts lose their intensity, competitors lose relevance. You begin to win not by force but by persistence. Osho reminded us that real balance is not the absence of struggle but the ability to remain centered within it. Jupiter direct restores Libra's center. This phase also teaches Libra a subtle lesson. Harmony does not require self-sacrifice. Jupiter now supports assertive balance where peace and strength coexist. Avatar Meher Baba taught that true courage is love in action. As Jupiter turns direct, Libra natives act from this courage, firm, fair, and quietly powerful. So, for Libra natives, this is a period where effort regains strength, discipline brings reward, and inner courage translates into tangible progress. Jupiter does not push Libra into conflict. Jupiter teaches you how to stand without shaking. And when balance becomes strength, life stops testing you and starts trusting you. Scorpio, Vrushchik Rashi. Jupiter rules the second and the fifth house, the house of values and intelligence, speech and sustenance, lineage and inner light. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, Scorpio moon natives enter a phase where inner truth begins to stabilize outer life. The second house is not merely money or family, it is the storehouse of values. It governs speech, food, habits, savings, family conditioning, and the moral backbone that supports survival. The fifth house is not merely creativity or romance, it is buddhi, higher intelligence, intuition, mantra, children, and the merit carried forward from past birth cycles. During Jupiter retrograde phase, many Scorpio moon natives may have felt inner turbulence around security and self-worth. Financial planning may have felt uncertain. Family dynamics may have required emotional maturity. Speech may have felt heavy, either restrained or sharper than intended. Matters related to children, creativity, education, or emotional fulfillment may have felt delayed or emotionally charged. This inner intensity had a purpose. As Bhagwan Raman Maharshi taught, when attention turns inward, hidden knots surface to be released. Retrograde Jupiter was forcing Scorpio natives to examine what they truly value beyond fear, control, or emotional attachment. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, stability begins to return. First in clarity, then in circumstances. The second house begins to strengthen. Financial discipline improves. Income stabilizes. Family matters find resolution. Speech becomes more measured, more healing, more aligned. Words regain power not to wound but to guide. At the same time, the fifth house awakens wisdom and grace. Creative energy flows again. Educational or learning matters move forward. Concerns related to children ease out. Intuition sharpens. Mantra, prayer, or contemplative practices deepen naturally. Osho said that when intelligence replaces emotion, clarity dawns. Jupiter direct helps Scorpio natives rise from emotional intensity into intelligence depth. This phase also transforms Scorpio's relationship with control. You may find that you no longer need to hold tightly. Trust grows not blindly but wisely. Desire becomes more refined. Passion becomes purposeful. Nisargadatta Maharaj reminded us that freedom begins when identification loosens. Jupiter direct loosens Scorpio's grip on fear-based attachment, and replaces it with grounded confidence. Avatar Meher Baba taught that real strength expresses itself through gentleness. That gentleness now begins to color Scorpio's speech, actions, and decisions. So, for Scorpio natives, this is a time where financial stability improves, family matters heal, intelligence sharpens, and creative or child related concerns find grace. Jupiter does not dilute Scorpio's intensity. Jupiter channels it into wisdom. And when depth is guided by wisdom, life no longer feels like a struggle for control. It becomes a journey of conscious power. Sagittarius, Dhanu Rashi. Jupiter rules the first and the fourth house, the houses of self and soul, identity and inner sanctuary, the path you walk and the ground on which you stand. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, this is not merely a phase of external movement for Sagittarius natives, it is a return to oneself. The first house is not just personality or appearance, it is a Jiva Tattva, the living consciousness. It governs vitality, confidence, direction, and the way you enter life each day. The fourth house is not merely home or mother, it is the seat of peace. It rules emotional security, inner contentment, roots, and the feeling of being at home within yourself. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Sagittarius natives may have felt strangely disconnected from their own optimism. Confidence may have wavered, direction may have blurred. Despite being natural believers, you may have found yourself questioning your own path, feeling emotionally unsettled, or sensing restlessness at home or within the heart. Some may have experienced delays related to property, relocation, vehicles, or family harmony. This was not a fall from grace, it was a recalibration of truth. As Osho said, to lose certainty is to gain freedom. Retrograde Jupiter was stripping Sagittarius of borrowed optimism and inherited philosophy, asking you to discover your own lived truth rather than repeating what you once believed. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, life gently recenters you. The first house begins to strengthen, confidence returns not as excitement but as steadiness. Vitality improves, direction becomes clearer, you feel more aligned in your body, your decisions, and your presence. Others begin to respond to you again, not because you are louder, but because you are grounded. At the same time, the fourth house heals. Emotional turbulence softens. Peace slowly returns to home and heart. Matters related to property, relocation, or domestic stability begin to move forward. The inner restlessness that haunted the retrograde phase begins to dissolve. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi taught that happiness is your very nature, but it is obscured by restlessness of the mind. Jupiter direct clears that restlessness for Sagittarius moon natives. This phase also brings a profound lesson. You do not need to constantly seek meaning elsewhere. Wisdom is not always on the road, it is often waiting inside the heart. Jupiter now teaches Sagittarius the balance between seeking and settling. Nisargadatta Maharaj reminded us that when you know who you are, you no longer need to run. Jupiter direct anchors Sagittarius natives in this knowing. Avatar Meher Baba taught that real freedom is born when the heart is at peace with itself. That peace is what now begins to grow quietly, steadily, sincerely. So, for Sagittarius moon natives, this is a time where self confidence stabilizes, emotional peace deepens, home matters heal, and life begins to feel aligned again. Jupiter does not take Sagittarius forward by distance. Jupiter brings you home to yourself. And when the seeker rests in truth, the path unfolds effortlessly beneath his feet. Capricorn, Makar Rashi. Jupiter rules the 3rd and the 12th houses, the houses of effort and surrender, conscious action and conscious withdrawal, courage in the world and silence beyond it. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, Capricorn natives enter a phase where strength is redefined, not as relentless striving, but as knowing when to act and when to let go. The 3rd house is not merely communication or initiative, it is parakram, inner courage. It governs effort, willpower, skill, writing, speaking, short travels, and the ability to take risks despite fear. The 12th house, on the other hand, is not merely loss, it is moksha bhav. It rules detachment, foreign lands, solitude, sleep, charity, spiritual expenditure, and the dissolution of ego. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Capricorn moon natives may have felt a strange fatigue, not physical alone, but existential. Efforts may have felt heavy, motivation may have dipped, communication may have felt blocked or misunderstood. At the same time, expenses may have risen, sleep may have been disturbed, or an inner desire for withdrawal and silence may have grown stronger. This was not weakness, it was the soul asking for balance. As Nisargadatta Maharaj said, when effort becomes effortless, you are close to truth. Retrograde Jupiter was teaching Capricorn natives that endless discipline without inner rest leads to dryness, not wisdom. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, energy begins to reorganize. The 3rd house slowly regains strength. Courage returns, not impulsive but deliberate. Communication improves, writing, speaking, learning, teaching, and skill based efforts begin to move forward. Support from siblings or close associates improves. You begin to express yourself with more confidence, yet with fewer words. At the same time, the 12th house brings peace through acceptance. Expenses begin to align with purpose. Foreign matters, spiritual retreats, hospital related issues, or long pending visa matters begin to move. Sleep deepens. The need to constantly control outcomes softens. Osho once said that true courage is not to fight continuously, but to know when fighting is no longer needed. Jupiter direct teaches Capricorn natives this wisdom. This phase also heals Capricorn's unconscious guilt around rest. You may begin to realize that stepping back does not make you weak, it makes you clear. Silence becomes nourishing, solitude becomes creative, surrender becomes intelligent. Avatar Meher Baba reminded us that real strength lies in obedience to the truth within. Jupiter direct brings Capricorn native closer to that inner authority. So, for Capricorn moon natives, this is a period where effort regains meaning. communication strengthens, spiritual peace deepens, and exhaustion gives way to quiet confidence. Jupiter does not remove Capricorn's responsibilities. Jupiter teaches you how to carry them without losing yourself. And when discipline is guided by wisdom, life stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a conscious choice. Aquarius, Kumbh Rashi. Jupiter rules the second and the 11th houses, the houses of value and vision, sustenance and fulfillment, speech and social reach. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, Aquarius natives enter a phase where alignment between inner values and outer gains becomes essential. The second house is not merely money or family, it is Vak and Sanskar. It governs speech, ethics, food habits, savings, self worth, and the value system you live by every day. The 11th house, on the other hand, is the house of manifestation. It rules gains, income, networks, social influence, large audiences, aspirations, and the ability to receive what you envision. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Aquarius natives may have felt a strange contradiction. Big ideas but delayed gains, social visibility without inner satisfaction, income with anxiety, or a sense of being heard yet not truly valued. Speech may have been misunderstood. Financial planning may have felt unstable. Social circles may have shifted, leaving you questioning to who truly belongs. This was not loss, it was realignment. As Bhagwan Raman Maharshi taught, when the false drops away, the real shines by itself. Retrograde Jupiter was stripping Aquarius of borrowed ambitions and externally defined success, asking you to re-examine what you truly stand for. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, coherence begins to return. The second house strengthens first. Speech becomes clearer, calmer, more authoritative. Financial discipline improves. Family matters stabilize. Self-worth rises not from approval but from inner clarity. You begin to value your voice again, and others begin to listen differently. At the same time, the 11th house begins to activate. Gains improve, income stabilizes, support from network, friends, and large platforms increases. Social reach expands, but now with meaning, not noise. Long pending aspirations begin to take shape, not suddenly but steadily. Osho said that when you know what you are, the world knows how to respond to you. Jupiter direct helps Aquarius natives anchor identity before expansion. This phase also transforms Aquarius' relationship with influence. You may find yourself less interested in popularity and more committed to purpose. Your circle becomes smaller but stronger. Your goals become fewer but more impactful. Nisargadatta Maharaj reminded us that freedom begins when you stop seeking confirmation from the outside. Jupiter direct grants Aquarius natives that freedom. Avatar Meher Baba taught that real giving happens when there is nothing to prove. Now, what you contribute to society, to networks, to causes comes from inner fullness rather than expectation. So, for Aquarius moon natives, this is a time where financial stability improves, speech gains authority, social influence realigns, and long held aspirations begin to manifest with integrity. Jupiter does not make Aquarius louder, Jupiter makes you truer. And when truth guides vision, fulfillment follows naturally. Pisces, Mean Rashi. Jupiter rules the first and the 10th house, the houses of being and becoming, inner identity and outer responsibility, the soul's nature and its public expression. And so, as Jupiter turns direct, Pisces moon natives enter a phase where clarity replaces confusion and purpose begins to take form in the world. The first house is not merely personality, it is Atma Bhav, the state of being. It governs confidence, vitality, self image, direction, and the way you experience life itself. The 10th house is not merely career, it is Karma Yoga. It rules profession, authority, visibility, responsibility, reputation, and the weight of public expectation. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, many Pisces moon natives may have felt unsure of themselves. Direction may have blurred, motivation may have fluctuated. Despite deep intuition, you may have doubted your own decisions. Professionally, recognition may have been delayed, authority questioned, or responsibilities increased without appreciation. Some may have felt spiritually rich but practically stuck. This inner conflict was not failure, it was integration in progress. As Avatar Meher Baba taught, the soul must first know itself before it can serve the world rightly. Retrograde Jupiter was asking Pisces natives to anchor compassion with clarity, surrender with structure, faith with responsibility. But now, as Jupiter turns direct, alignment begins. The first house strengthens first, confidence returns, not as ego but as quiet certainty. Vitality improves, emotional fog lifts. You begin to trust your intuition again, yet with discernment. Decisions feel cleaner, presence feels steadier. At the same time, the 10th house gains momentum. Career matters begin to move. Recognition follows responsibility. Authority increases, but so does accountability. Professional visibility improves, yet demands integrity. Leadership opportunities may arise not for personal glory but for service. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi reminded us that when the self is known, action becomes effortless. Jupiter direct allows Pisces moon natives to act from inner alignment rather than emotional overwhelm. This phase also transforms Pisces' relationship with sacrifice. You may realize that compassion does not require self-erasure. Service does not demand exhaustion. Jupiter teaches balanced devotion where giving flows from fullness, not depletion. Osho said that true spirituality is not escape from the world, but participation without attachment. Jupiter direct grounds Pisces natives in this truth. Nisargadatta Maharaj reminded us that you do not become something, you realize what you already are. As Jupiter moves forward, Pisces moons begin to live this realization in practical life. So, for Pisces moon natives, this is a period where self-confidence stabilizes, career direction clarifies, public recognition aligns with inner truth, and spiritual maturity finds worldly expression. Jupiter does not pull Pisces away from the world. Jupiter teaches you how to stand in it without losing yourself. And when compassion is guided by clarity, destiny unfolds with grace. And so, the deeper truth of Jupiter in retrograde must be understood beyond events and expectations. And so, the deeper truth of Jupiter in retrograde must be understood beyond events and expectations. When Jupiter turns inward, life does not move forward in the usual sense. It moves inward, downward, and backward into understanding. Much of Jupiter's retrograde time is not spent giving results, it is spent correcting direction. This is the phase when life quietly asks you to pause and re evaluate your beliefs, your philosophies, your long term vision, your moral compass, your understanding of meaning and purpose. It is as if Jupiter gently says, before you go further, make sure you truly know where you are going and why. This is not punishment, this is education. In Jupiter retrograde, you are not pushed into the world, you are sent back to school, not to learn new information, but to unlearn confusion. Bhagwan Raman Maharshi once pointed to this inner schooling with great simplicity when he said, real education is that which makes you aware of yourself. That is exactly what Jupiter retrograde does. It withdraws outer momentum so that inner clarity can be sharpened. During this period, life may feel slower, uncertain, or oddly reflective. Plans may stall, confidence may soften, certainty may dissolve. But what is dissolving is not wisdom, it is borrowed knowledge. What is being questioned is not intelligence, it is borrowed belief. Jupiter retrograde tests whether your faith is inherited or lived, whether your values are learned or realized, whether your direction is habitual or conscious. Osho once said something profoundly relevant here. Belief gives your answers, but it takes away the question. Truth arises only when the question remains alive. Jupiter retrograde returns the question to you. This is also the phase when strategies are refined, ethical gaps become visible, long term decisions demand honesty, shortcuts lose their charm. You may feel as though life is asking you to rewrite the syllabus, not just to pass the exam. You may feel as though life is asking you to rewrite the syllabus, not just pass the exam. And that is because Jupiter does not want success without understanding. He wants alignment before expansion. Nisargadatta Maharaj captured this inner correction very beautifully. He says, you must know yourself before you can know the world. Jupiter retrograde insists on this order. Importantly, the areas of life where this introspection unfolds depend entirely on where Jupiter sits in your birth chart. And the houses ruled and occupied by Jupiter become classrooms. Belief systems are revised, guidance is re examined, teachers appear in subtle forms, past mistakes written as lessons, not losses. Nothing is wasted in this phase, my friends. What feels like delay is actually preparation. Lao Tzu's quiet wisdom flows naturally here. He says, if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. Jupiter retrograde is exactly that correction. So the bottom line is this: when Jupiter is retrograde, do not rush outcomes, do not force decisions, do not measure progress externally. Instead, listen more, reflect deeply, study yourself, refine your direction, sharpen your inner strategy. Because when Jupiter finally turns direct, life does not ask whether you moved fast, it asks whether you moved wisely. And those who used the retrograde period to grow inwardly find that when forward motion resumes, it carries clarity, confidence, and grace, not confusion. And that is Jupiter's true blessing. And it may also have happened that during this period of retrograde Jupiter, quietly, naturally, some of you may have found your way to me and to my YouTube channel during these past few months without planning, without effort, not by chance but by inner readiness. Through this meeting, perhaps you encountered a way of seeing life that felt unfamiliar yet strangely intimate. Perhaps something was spoken that you had always felt but never heard articulated. And perhaps in that recognition, a certain confusion dissolved, a burden lightened, or a direction become clearer. If that has happened, then understand this gently. True connections are never accidental. They arise when the soul is ready to listen, not with the mind, but with the heart. Blessed are those who resonate and feel at home in my sharing. Not because I say something extraordinary, but because you were ready to hear something simple and true. It is not easy to connect with my words unless one is already walking the path of inner growth. A path where the head slowly bows and the heart begins to open. Because the only language I know and the only language I share is the language of the heart. The heart is intelligent, it recognizes truth without argument. The mind, on the other hand, is restless, jumping, doubting, comparing, like a playful but noisy monkey. One who remains trapped in the mind will analyze me. One who drops into the heart will meet me. And remember this always, my fellows. Only the one who is willing to loosen the grip of the mind and walk with the quiet guidance of the heart can truly journey with me in this sharing and caring. If you are here listening to this podcast and reflecting, then perhaps you already know that something within you has chosen this moment. May that inner listening deepen. May clarity continue to unfold, and may your journey continue to move ever closer to truth, simplicity, and inner alignment. For this is the deeper purpose of Jupiter in retrograde, not to delay life but to prepare the soul. Retrograde Jupiter does not deny blessings. Retrograde Jupiter refines your readiness to receive them. And when the great Guru of the cosmos finally turns direct on 11th March 2026, he does so not as a dispenser of mere outcomes, but as a benevolent guide who now finds you more aware, more grounded, and more deserving. At that moment, expansion flows naturally, manifestation becomes graceful, what is needed arrives without force, and in that quiet unfolding, may you find yourself smiling, not out of excitement alone, but out of gratitude. grateful for the lessons, grateful for the pauses, grateful for the unseen guidance, and grateful for the loving grace of Jupiter, who teaches first and blesses later. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः।